Hey, sports fans, this is Robert with WTP Sports Dudes here live on this Saturday morning, ready to get into our national championship game preview and more. I got my man Post Game on the Post Game 86 podcast in the house with us this morning. How you feeling post game?
Man, I feel wonderful and I'm ready to crown a national champion. How y'all doing?
Oh, I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. We also got our man SEC Sean of the SEC Sean podcast with us. How you feeling, SEC Sean?
Doing good. Ready to got a pretty good day of sports lined up here. We got some good college basketball games. Got some NFL stuff. Got some getting ready for the championship game Monday. It's gonna be a pretty good weekend. I think we got to get together here now. We're gonna be talking some mess on text, Robert. We got Texas A&M tonight.
Yeah, that's what I was just about to ask you. Y'all come to us, right?
Yeah, we're coming to y'all this time.
Okay, cool, cool. Texas has been playing some pretty decent basketball in the last couple of games, but that don't mean nothing when it comes to this rivalry. So we'll
It's
see how it goes.
I'm pretty impressed with what Bucky McMillan's done at A&M for his first year and throwing a team together in about 2 weeks. So plus, I mean, we did lose our big man, that kid from Indiana, I think is where he was from. I don't remember how to pronounce his name, Mabakpo or something like that. He's out for the year, but still pretty impressed. So.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Well, let's go ahead and get into these questions, man, that we got on this national championship game that's going to take place on Monday. I wish that thing was on today, but you know how that goes. What do you see as the keys for Miami against Mendoza?
Oh man, the keys for Miami against Mendoza. They gonna have to make Mendoza and that Indiana offense one dimensional. They're gonna have to make Mendoza be a pocket quarterback, keep him in a pocket, keep him from using his legs to make plays, scramble, get first down. And they're gonna have to be physical and hitting. That pass rush gonna have to get after Mendoza. So a big key for me for Miami to be successful in this game is to make sure they are ahead and that Indiana doesn't have a lead. They have to make Mendoza one dimension. And if they can do that with that pass rush with Bang and Mesidor, then I think they can be successful. But they have to win on third downs. They have to get Mendoza off the field. So that's a big key for me as far as Miami against Mendoza.
Yeah. Um, I don't know what else to say. I mean, post game pretty much nailed it. You got to make them one dimensional. You got to make him beat you from the pocket, but you also have to maintain. If you're not going to get to him, you have to maintain your run fits because he can slip out and bust a little run and kind of get at that crucial third down conversion on a 3rd and 7, 3rd and 8. If you're not sound with your rush lanes when you're getting there, if you can't get home, you've got to be able to contain the edges and keep the gaps sound so that he doesn't take off on you. That's what I see as the key. Miami has to make him beat them from the pocket.
Yeah, I like with everything that y'all said so far. Miami has to make sure that they control that line of scrimmage and keep Mendoza, like y'all said, from being able to leak out, getting those third downs with his legs to extend drives, and they really have to make sure that they do not give up a bunch of rushing yards that allows Mendoza just to sit back there and pick them apart because now they got to bring a safety down in the box. They're gonna really have to control that line of scrimmage, man, and keep Mendoza from being able to have all kinds of time to find those outside receivers and the backs out of the backfield. But it's all predicated on how physical their defensive line can be against Indiana's offensive line. And I think that Miami's athleticism on the defensive line, they're going to have to win one-on-one matchups whenever Bain and Mesidor gets matched up one-on-one, whether it's with a guard or tackle. They got to win those one-on-ones and get pressure on Mendoza to keep him his timing off, his balance off, and keep him from being able to extend drives with his legs. In two playoff games, Indiana has 90 rushes to only 36 passes, a nearly 3-to-1 ratio. Do you see this game being any different?
I do.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I see it being. I don't think Indiana's going to have the ability to just run the ball like they have been in the past. A lot of those rushing yards have come when they've blown teams out and they're just trying to run the ball at this point to get out of the game, healthy and safe. I don't think that's going to happen. I think you're going to have to be more of a 60-40 split, 60% run, 40% pass, somewhere around that range. But that's going to depend on if the running game's working or not. If the running game's not working, so I think it's going to be different. I think Indiana's going to have to try to force the run, but I just don't know that it's going to work against that Miami front. So we'll see, but I don't think that script's going to work in this game.
Yeah. If Indiana, if those statistics hold up in this game, Indiana is going to be champion and it won't be close. So if this game is going to be close, which I kind of lean to it being, then Miami can't allow Indiana to establish the run and run the ball that much as they've been doing throughout the year and throughout the playoffs. So uh, I do see it being different. I don't think Indiana is going to be running the ball like that. I think that they're going to win this game, and it'll be a close game. It's going to be on the back of Mendoza and those back shoulder throws down the field, and him making plays with his legs. So I I tend to believe Miami is too physical to run the ball long like that. But if they do, this game won't be close.
What's your thoughts on that, Mossberg? In two playoff games, we've seen Indiana rush the ball 90 times to only 36 passes, a nearly 3-to-1 ratio. Do you see this game being any different?
I will say this one thing for sure: Miami coming to play. They're not about to let Indiana run all over them. I just don't see that happening. They're definitely gonna have to change up that ratio in this championship game because when you think of Bain, and I don't know why I forget the other guy's name. I mean, they bring pressure. They there to get that quarterback, and they have definitely done that throughout this playoff. And we can't forget Miami's a team nobody felt that could be in. Myself being one of those guys, based on the way things look. So I think we got to respect this Miami team's defense and what they bring in. And I think it's definitely going to be a switch up in Indiana's game plan. I definitely feel that way.
Let's bring our man, the great Griffey Griff, into the studio with us.
Good morning, fellas. Good morning. How everybody doing?
We good, Griffey Griff?
Doing pretty good. Good to see you in here this morning.
Yeah, man. I just logged in. I'm driving. I'm on my way home, so I can help teach practice with my daughter for a driving test a little later. But I wanted to check in with you fellas, man.
It's good to
Yeah,
see
we
you, man.
appreciate you checking in. Give us your thoughts on the fact that in the last two playoff games, Indiana's been able to run the ball 90 rushes to 36 passes, nearly a 3-to-1 ratio. Do you think this game is going to be any different?
I can see it being different because of Miami's defensive front. If they come to play, if Indiana can just they've been averaging a ridiculous yards per carry attempt in these two games. If they can manage to still average maybe 4 maybe 4 yards of carry, get that first down, get that 4 yards on first down, and they stay on schedule with their game plan. I think they could still do the same game plan they've been doing the first 2 games. But if Miami's defense comes to play the way they've been playing the first 2 games and forces Mendoza to throw the ball more than usual, I can see Miami winning this game. A really close game because I see Indiana's defense coming to play also. But if Indiana's able to run the ball at the ratio they've done the first 2 games, Miami doesn't stand a chance of winning this game.
Yeah, I agree with that. What are y'all's keys to Carson Beck against this Indiana defense?
Carson's gonna have to get the ball out quick. That's gonna be the game plan for Miami. If Indiana's DBs can stick to the Miami receivers and make Carson hold on to the ball, it's gonna be a long night for Carson Beck. We could see the one Carson Beck that comes out almost like a Jameis Winston type, where he throws 2 or 3 picks Monday night. But he has to get the ball out quick. That's the game plan for them. And Miami's run game has to work for him to help Carson Beck. Because if Miami doesn't have a run game, Indiana's going to tee off on Carson Beck all night.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think Carson Beck can't turn the ball over. And I know that might be low hanging fruit for some, but it just is what it is. Miami Carson Beck cannot turn the ball over. He has to take care of the ball. Like Griffey Griff just said, he got to make quick throws. He got to get the ball out of his hand quick. He can't be in the pocket, being the sitting duck and the target for that Indiana defense. Carson Beck has to rely on his running backs to make plays. He gotta rely on Malachi Tony to get the ball in space on quick throws and make plays. And surprisingly, to my surprise at least, he has to make plays with his legs, as he's been doing throughout the playoffs. So, Miami or Indiana likes to play a lot of zone coverages. They like to mix up their coverages. So he has to be prepared for that. And he can't, I can't stress that enough. Carson Beck cannot get the ball up against this Indiana team, or it's going to be a very long night for the Hurricanes in Florida.
So you're looking at, total points both of y'all make, Griff and Post Gamer are, you're 100% spot on with the running game and stuff. But what does Carson Beck, in my mind, need to do? Carson Beck needs to go in and take off that little cape with the red S on it, that Superman cape, and become Clark Kent. He don't try to need to be saving the world and doing everything. He needs to use the weapons around him. Post game stole my thunder again with the, when it's third, how many times have you seen Carson Beck in these playoffs lower his shoulder and take off on a third down run to get a crucial first down, like 3rd and 8 against Ohio State or something? He just said, nah, we're not getting stopped on this. I'm getting to the first down marker. He has to be that kind of person, but he can't be trying to force throws. Take what you're given. You've got athletes to compete with Indiana. Just take what the defense is giving you, little short, quick passes, slants. You're not going to stand back there for 6 seconds waiting for posts and deep runs, long go routes to get open against that defense from Indiana. So don't be Superman. Just be a normal, run-of-the-mill quarterback.
I would for me watching. One thing I think people fail to realize with Carson Beck, this kid has seen a lot. He's seen almost every coverage you could see. I would say in college football with the disguises, amongst so many more things. And as you guys saying, with him taking off lowering his shoulder, people not realizing he's wearing that number 11. Number 11 didn't beat the Ohio State University. Number 11 did some things, and I'm talking about Ken Dorsey, no comparisons. But he's making this number 11 look legit in this Miami uniform. So I think that's something people got to really look and think about. They don't talk about that team a lot in comparison, but this Miami team haven't forgot about that game in which they play heavy against Ohio State, and they've continued to play. And I think this Carson Beck In this game, he has to be himself. Be that quarterback that you came in, that they recruited you at this 4-star, 5-star rating. Go out there and get this national championship. This is the biggest game, I think, of his career. This is your senior year, everything on the marbles. You came over with the big NIL deal after leaving Georgia, so all eyes on you. I think you step up, you get this big win for Miami, you go down not in history of Miami, but in college football history for a team nobody felt would be in a playoff, to lead them at your position and continue to do what you do. Quiet as kept, one of the superstars, and possibly if they win MVP of this Miami team in this playoff.
My man, my brother Mossberg with the Ken Dorsey reference. I love it.
Mm-mm.
Miami's offensive coordinator and all their offensive staff have got to be Carson Beck's best friend in this game and give him the kind of play calls and be in tune with this game to the point where you get him in successful plays. You cannot allow him to be in third and longs and think he's going to be able to put on that Superman cape, because he's going to definitely be Clark Kent in those situations. I think that if they can do that and get him the ball out of his hand quickly to some of their dynamic receivers who have a chance to make a move and get up the field, get some of that yak yardage, he can stay in rhythm and on time. But if they have to have long, drawn out plays where you got guys on these long routes, it's not going to be successful, because Indiana's going to be after him. They're going to have to slow up that rush with maybe some screens, maybe some short throws to Malachi Tony and their other receivers to keep Indiana's defense from coming upfield after Carson Beck. But he's going to definitely have to be poised. He can't get erratic. And whenever he needs to make a play with his legs, he's going to have to be able to do it. But he can't be one of those quarterbacks that decides, I'm going to lower my shoulder in this game, because if he goes out, they definitely have no chance.
But he has to be
Real
decisive in
quick,
that.
another key.
He has to be decisive in them decisions when it's time to run, and not sit back there and hold that ball.
Yeah, that's a fact.
And then another thing for Carson Beck, I think a lot of people really don't realize. I watched that game, watched a few of their games, but I forget which one it was. I think the Ohio State game. I'm not for sure. When Fletcher's mom was in the stands and cheering him on, to see Fletcher beat his back. Nobody really talked about this football season. I think we looking at a masterclass performance in what he's doing and helping Beck be Beck. I think when you have a running back you can hand the ball to, you as a quarterback, you seeing him fight for tough yardage, you want to put that effort towards fighting for some extra yardage. And I think we seeing this, and we gotta, definitely give kudos, because if you have Carson without Fletcher, you wouldn't have Carson Beck being as successful as he has been this year. And we could see Miami with the 3-to-1 ratio, the way Fletcher's been out here running this football, and Miami's defensive pressure towards Indiana. It's some things that's going to be tackled and handled in this game for sure.
It's going to be one in the trenches, definitely.
Yeah, for sure. Should Miami man up on the outside during this game, during spurts in this game?
I think they can. I don't know. It all depends on the floor of the game. But I believe if their defensive line, not even just those edges, but in the interior of that Miami defensive line, if they can get pressure on Mendoza to stop that running game, I think they can man up on the outside. Because, I mean, a lot of those throws, those back shoulder throws, the quarterback needs timing. The quarterback needs a good pocket to execute those plays down the field. So I think they can, but game floor is going to dictate that a lot in this game. They can get pressure up the middle, off the edges, like they tend to do. Miami can run man to man on the outside against those receivers. But if they can't get pressure, those receivers for Indiana are going to eat all night long.
Mm.
Yeah, see, I've got it. I got it pretty much the same, but maybe a few little differences. I think Miami goes straight man in this game because that frees Keontae Scott up to blitz off the edges. I think if Miami's getting pressure on him with say they go with their base 4 defense and they're 4 down or getting home and controlling the run game first off. But if they're still getting pressure with just sending 4, I think Miami drops back into a zone. But if they're not getting home, you don't want to drop into a zone because Mendoza will pick a zone apart. And that's where I see the problem. If you can't get pressure, you're going to need to play more man because Mendoza, like I said, those crossing routes and stuff with Surratt and the other receivers they've got out there on the edges, they'll just Mendoza. If you give him time, he's just going to sit back there and pick you apart. It's just it's going to be a Tom Brady clinic if you don't get pressure on it.
I think when you think about the fact that Miami's gotten to where they've disguised a lot of their man up when they man up on defense because of the pressure. You don't really see the fact that they've almost played man majority of the playoff at times without the zone that they scheme up. So I think this Miami team they've gotten this far not just playing zone. They've played a lot of man throughout the playoff, but the disguise and the way that pressure comes, you really don't see it. So I think, like for me, I'm looking at this game to be a flip side of what we've literally seen from Indiana on the Miami side. I think Miami's going to match up with them, let their corners man up at times, but that pressure, the pressure Miami brings makes a difference in the way they could do that. So I think they definitely will, and it's going to be in spurts, and you just might not see how they match up with the man because of the disguises that they run.
If they're getting home with that pressure, I think it's gonna be a lot of zone being played by Miami. Because if they can get that pressure, if they can get that pressure up front and neutralize Indiana's run game, then that RPO stuff that Indiana likes to run, it's not going to work if the run game isn't going. So if Miami is successful getting to the quarterback, I see a lot of zone being played by them more than man because of the RPO action that Indiana likes to run, and they sit back and just wait for Mendoza to make mistakes if they're getting home stopping the run.
Yeah, if Miami's front 6 or 7, if they can go with a light box and stop the run, they can really go man to man and then allow for that safety to be able to blitz off the edge or even bring a corner off the edge. And that'll allow them to keep Indiana in 3rd and longs, where then you can fall back into your zone, keep everything in front of you, and just tackle before they get to the sticks. But I think on 1st and 2nd down, Miami is going to definitely have to be like glue, man to man on Indiana to try to get them in 3rd and long situations to keep their receivers from being able to just have cushion to make easy throws for Mendoza to get him in a rhythm to where those guys can possibly get some yak yards because they're bigger receivers. But Miami's athleticism and speed on the outside should be able to handle that. But they got to be good against the run, like y'all all said, to keep Indiana in 3rd and long situations where then they can fall back into a zone. But I think in early downs, they really have to play man to man and be sticky in coverage to make it tough for Mendoza to have smaller windows to try to fit that ball into. Can target the motion help Miami get the ball to Malachi Tony in space, or is Indiana too disciplined to allow him those opportunities?
You see, Indiana is an extremely disciplined team, and I know there's been a lot of comparisons for this Indiana team, but the comparison I have for this Indiana team is those early 2000 New England Patriots. That's my comparison for this team. But I mean, you would think Indiana is too disciplined to allow Tony to just wreak havoc and break this game open like that. But if Miami is going to have success in this game, Malachi Tony, they have to get the ball to him in motion and in space. And I'm gonna tell y'all something else. Special teams is going to be a huge factor for Miami in this game. The special team battle is going to be critical for this game because I believe that these teams are evenly matched, but they definitely have to get to find ways to get the ball to Malachi Tony and break the game open because they want to play in this game with a lead. And if they have a lead, that means Malachi Tony is making plays more so Fletcher in that running game and those running backs. But Indiana is extremely disciplined. It's going to be hard to do that. But that's going to be the key to the game. Can Miami get the ball to Malachi Tony and let him make plays in space?
Yeah, I mean, in my opinion, that's a good comparison post game too. I was comparing this the other night. I was comparing this to a high school game down in Texas years ago, where you had the team with all the swag, Manville High School, playing against Katy High School, and Katy High School made no mistakes. They don't get penalties. They don't do anything wrong. They're just very disciplined and sound. And Manville was the athletic, stud athletes all over the field. And Katy beat them 56 to 14. They just don't make mistakes. They like to run the ball. To me, Malachi Tony needs 15 touches in this game. Between runs, short passes, whatever, he needs 15. He needs 15 touches in this game. Everybody says he's a dynamic freshman. He's not a freshman anymore. Let's get over that. He's a sophomore now. He's out of the freshman jitters. He doesn't have none of that no more. He's older. Yeah, he's got to have 15 touches, and that's just how I feel. If you give him 15 touches, that gives you the best chance to win this game.
I think some of them touches got to come early, like with a trick play, a end around or something with him going up the field, some type of misdirection type action to get him going early, and Miami could jump out to a lead and probably take control of this game with his dynamic playmaking ability. But yeah, like you said, Tony needs. I wouldn't say 15 is a lot, but they got to give him. I think between about 8 to 10, and a few of those have to be on some misdirection type stuff to fool the Indiana defense, because like y'all said, they're very disciplined, and you're gonna have to do some stuff to trick them to get in that end zone.
Yeah, I went with 15 because I'm counting in punt returns too.
Oh, okay, got you.
You see, but one thing people don't remember, and I don't mean to cut you off, Moss, was you can run a reverse to Malachi Tony, and that dude can chunk it 50 yards down the field.
Yeah,
he was a quarterback too, so
yeah.
People need to remember that you can get him on an end around. That don't mean he's going to take off running. He could just stop, plant, and chunk and hit a dime down the field.
I totally agree with you. And when you say them touches, I was thinking the same thing. Special teams, you got to think of it all. And I think of, one of the greats from Florida State, Peter Ward, reminiscent of when they did that with him in the national championship game. He had to get that ball. They found every way to get it to him. And it prevailed for us. I think Malachi Tony is one of the most electrifying players we have in college football. Anywhere he touched it on the field, he could go. He could go the distance. It don't matter, like you said, if he get it on a reverse, if he throws it, if he catches it. I mean, he's just that special of a talent. And I look at him, I know it's early and my comparisons be off the charts, but my guy in Cincinnati, Jamar Chase, the way he bounces off tackles, and he catches the ball and puts himself in a position to gain more yak, as we know what that is, yards after catch. Malachi Tony is this elusive, this special. So the more touches, the greater value. And I think this is that type of game where it's built and it's made for him to do exactly what we know they could do. And this Miami offense, we used to see him catch the ball and put up outstanding numbers after the catch, highlight moves. I think we get back to seeing that this this Monday night in this championship game. Malachi Tony Golden definitely making some big catches for Beck to get this victory for Miami. If I already gave y'all who I was going for, my bad. But that's what I'm saying. Yes.
Yeah, putting him in motion and looking to target him is probably going to be a big key for them because then you get to see what kind of defense Indiana is playing on that play by who follows him, if somebody follows him, or if they're going to stay in zone. But then you can start to hunt matchups because you see what Indiana is doing pre-snap based on the movement of Malachi Tony. Are they trying to take him away, which is going to open up the door for somebody else? But I think he's going to have to be the key piece for them, and they're going to have to move him around so that you can see where your matchups are at, where you can win at, where Carson Beck can maybe get the ball out of his hand quickly to somebody else because the defense is focusing a lot on Malachi Tony. So I think he's going to have to be very, very important in their offense this game, just so Carson Beck can see what the defense is looking like pre-snap. And I think he's the key player that can help him do that. Uh, and I agree. He got to get the ball as often as you can get him in this game plan without it being a situation where other players sort of fall asleep because they're not getting the touches. Um, and I think that Miami's going to be ready to do that as well. And as many times as he can get the ball, the better, as long as it's in the framework of the offense. Who do y'all think wins this game, and will it be a close game?
Oh my God. The prediction. Man, what a game this is. When I think about this game, it kind of puts me in the mind of the New England Patriots and the Carolina Panthers in the 2000s, back in the day. Um, but Indiana is a talented, disciplined, well coached team, physical, and they're mature. They're an older team. I want to say that the pressure of completing an undefeated season kind of may get in the way of Indiana completing that task, but they're so older and more mature. I'm not sure if that's going to be a factor. The fact that they're playing in Florida, I know Indiana is technically the home team, but they're on Miami turf. And I think I don't like to use triangle theories, but I kind of like when you think about the Ohio State team and how great they were playing ball throughout the early parts of the season. And I think Miami beat Ohio State more soundly than Indiana did. Uh, Indiana's had a tough road at the latter part of the season. Miami has too, but man, I just think the style of play, the way this game is going to go, it favors Miami. And I know Indiana is favored by like 7 or 8 points. I think that's a little too high, but I think the physicality of Miami, the fact that they're going to be playing in Florida, the fact that Indiana may have some pressure on them to complete a perfect season. I just think Miami is going to hit Indiana in the mouth, and they're not going to see it coming. I do believe it's going to be a close game. I think Malachi Tony is going to change this game on special teams. I think Fletcher is going to be a monster and run the ball. And here's the thing, Miami's offensive line, I would be hard pressed to imagine that my Indiana has faced the offensive line this big, this physical, this dominant. So, fellas, I'm gonna lean towards Miami in the upset, and I got this game being 24-17, and the U brings a championship back. their story program.
Man, this is good. This is good. I for me, I'm really thinking about this Miami team and the fact that they went from not being in a playoff, as far as the people not picking them, not thinking they should be there. They beat the defending champs, storied and what their season was looking like. Then they go put a little whipping on Ole Miss, and now they sitting in the national championship. It's all in a bliss, man. So guess what, Andy? ACC. Everybody been talking about us, even myself. I think we come out on top in this. And Indy has been steamrolling everyone they've played. But guess what? It's back on you this time. And I think Miami come down and put a whooping on this Monday night. I think we about to see some. I got that feeling with this Miami team, man. I think they the ones that's out with their backs against the wall. If you really think about it, they have nothing to lose. The odds has been against them all season, and no one has picked them to be in the championship. If you look at everybody's season predictions, except those Miami fans, KT, Justin, a few others we know, I'm taking Miami post game, and this is going to surprise you in the score that I picked. They won by about 40 their first two, so I'm taking Miami 38-14 over Indiana Monday night. They get handed a BTA. As all these Big Ten schools been talking, they the ones that brought the BTA. So Michael Irvin has definitely been supporting Ray Lewis and that alumni with this Miami team. And I think that's another reason that they're doing what they're doing, having them in that support room and just everything. I think Miami come out and put a belt on, and they give them an old school whooping. No undefeated season for Indiana. Great things they've been doing, but it's time for the U to get back to business.
Is that everybody? Everybody went?
No, I was going to let Griff go, but I think maybe he jumped off. Man, it's going to be a close game. I don't think Indiana's seen a line of scrimmage like they're fixing to run against both sides of the ball. Miami's pretty much been in playoff mode since that SMU loss. They knew they had to keep winning or they weren't getting it. One more loss would have put them out, so they had to win. I think Miami is more battle tested, especially lately. I mean, I get Indiana beat Alabama. We all agree we're not even sure Alabama should have been in. And they smashed Oregon, who they, another Big Ten team that they had familiarity with. Yet Miami had to go to a Texas A&M team and play in a hurricane force winds. And then they took on what everybody predicted was hey, the crown's already been given to Ohio State, and handled them pretty well. That was a pretty dominant performance by them. So I have to lean Miami in this game just because at least they beat my Aggies. So at least we lost to the national champion. I think it's close. 28-24 is what I got. I didn't catch Mossberg's prediction.
38-14. I'm a 38-17. One of them scores you get them Aggies wins. 38-17 Miami.
I think the only team that can blow the other out is Indiana blowing out Miami. I don't think Miami can blow out Indiana. I think that's not Miami's game. Miami's game is defense, run the ball, control the clock. They're not a 50-20 type game without turnovers and special teams plays, like if they return 2 punts or something or a couple of picks. But I think if you eliminate those things, I think you've got Miami is more scripted to win a 28-24 slugfest than a high score. If it gets into a shootout, I'd like Indiana, but I don't see that happening. I'm going Miami 28-24. And we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I'm not sure if Griffey Griff is back yet or not, but I am going with the U. Listen, here's why. Partially because I won't be biased, because I don't want to see the freaking Big Ten win another national title because I'm an SEC man. I don't want them to get another freaking title before my SEC gets another one. That's the first reason. But because I really believe Miami's offensive line can
Come
do what
here.
needs to be done to contain
Yo.
Indiana's defensive line. And I think that can be the key for Miami to win a very close game. We've seen in sports a lot where you have a team who has been dominating in the playoffs, and then they come up against a team that is just going to be just as physical or even more physical than they are. And that more physical team who has not been blowing people out, who's been a little bit more battle tested, pulls out the victory. And I think that will be the case for Miami. I think they're the team of destiny this year. I want to stay with my prediction that we will never have another undefeated national champion in football, college football, that is, ever again. And I hope that that comes true. And Miami can win this game against Indiana 27-24. Let's go the U.
Let's go.
I got Indiana, man. I'm going Indiana 24-16. I think their defense is going to stand up like they have all year, neutralize Miami's offense, get a lot of pressure on Carson Beck, force him into making some costly mistakes. And I think Indiana's run game is going to come to play like they have been the first two games. I don't know if the ratio is going to be the same as it has been, but I can see them making enough plays, running the ball to keep Mendoza clean in the pocket to get some of them RPOs off, make a few plays, and win this game 24-16.
First off, I got to say that everybody on this panel needs to love Griff because it wasn't a clean sweep for Miami. Because if it was, Indiana was going to win. So we all got to love you for that pick of Indiana.
Yeah,
I was going to change my pick.
I like this Indiana team. I really like.
Change.
Who y'all say this Indiana team remind y'all of?
Look, here's what it reminds me of. This is kind of post game been saying a lot of references back to like the Patriots and stuff with different things. This game kind of reminds me of that Patriots-Giants Super Bowl, don't it? The hot, favored New England Patriots coming against the team that barely snuck into the wild card with the Giants, and the Giants beat them to ruin their undefeated season.
Interesting. Interesting take. And you got a quarterback over there and Beck who's looking just like Eli, and a guy over there, Mendoza, who had Brady as the MVP that year and king of it all. I love that comparison. I love it.
Parlay Poe said Big Ten.
We got Parlay Poe. What's the score you think, Parlay Poe, as I'm writing you down for your Hoosiers in that Big Ten conference? Any predictions you got for the people out there? Anything you want them to pick?
Yeah, while he's putting that in the chat, let's talk a little bit about the NFL action that's going to take place today. We got the Bills versus the Broncos at 4:30 today. What's your thoughts on this matchup? Can Josh Allen and the Bills go into Mount High Stadium and take out the Broncos?
Real quick, I'm going to run through the last three questions because, like I told you, Robert, we're taking my granddaughter to that slide park today, and they're on their way over here. So I'm going to run through these to get them out there. I like the Broncos in this game. I think their defense is better. They're at home. We all know it's difficult to play at Mile High. I like the Broncos to win that game. 49ers Seahawks, man, tough to play in Seattle. That crowd's electric up there. It's loud. It's crazy. I think the 49ers get it done, though. I think they find a way to get it done. just how I feel about that one. That one's a toss-up to me, but I'm going to lean 49ers. I think McCaffrey may make a play. I know Kittle's out, I'm pretty sure.
Darnold might be out for Seattle, too.
Right. So it's kind of, I'm still up in the air on that one a little bit. Real quick, I wanted to throw it out there. Post-game mentioned the line for the championship game. It's opened at 7. It's now Indiana by 8.5. The over-under is 47. So all the money's coming in on Indiana right now. So that's my take on those two. Darren Mensah hitting the portal. Total. He was. I will put money right now. He'll wind up at Miami. I guarantee Miami was in his ear. I promise. He was at he'll be at Miami next year. That's where I'm at with that. I told Rob earlier, I think post game caught some of it. I'm going to jump on either later on this afternoon. I'll send it out to Moss Post and Robert as well. I'm going to jump on later and kind of go do some more NASCAR predictions for who I think is going to make the playoffs throughout the season and kind of break down some drivers. But I'll send y'all a message as to what time that's going to pop on. If y'all are available to jump on, cool. If not, I get it. It'll either be today or tomorrow. I haven't decided yet. But other than that, that's my take on this stuff. It's good to see Poe in the comments. I hadn't caught up with him in a while. Y'all have a good weekend. And remember, everybody, look down below. Go like, subscribe, share, hit the notification bell. We're going to have some content popping. College basketball fixing to get rolling. We got the NFL playoffs. I got my NASCAR coming. We got a bunch of stuff we're going to be talking about. So y'all go jump in, join us, support us. Everybody have a safe Saturday, and I'll catch up with y'all probably tomorrow morning.
Yes, sir.
Peace.
Peace, man. Have fun as well with the grandbaby.
Always, brother, always. That's Hurricane Madeline.
Yes, indeed, man. Yes, indeed. Trying to think, who am I going to get?
All right, who y'all taking in that game against the Broncos and the Bills, and what's your thoughts on that matchup?
This is tough this was tough for me. I know I'm in a process of about to leave myself. My dad, I got a surprise trip. I don't have no clue of where I'm going. He said it'll be great for the podcast. So just know that your boy Mossberg will be going live sometime today, wherever my pops take me. I'm more excited than I feel like a kid in a candy store, kind of like SEC Shine's grandbaby right now. But I'm taking Bo and these Broncos, man, in Mile High. I think they've been a class act this year. And what I mean by class act, just watching how they've done things. They've consistently won games. If they have a loss, they go back to the drawing board, it seems like, and come out better than ever. And right now, I think they've picked up some steam to where Josh Allen, you might have fell into a trap and going to Mile High, because it's going to be very tough to get a win there today. And we know what the playoff atmosphere could be like there. I remember when Terrell Davis and Elway played together, and they have a quarterback and a running back with those type of receivers now that could win big games. And I think this Denver team is trying to win it all, bring something back to Denver that hasn't been done in quite a while. I'm taking Bo, as I call him, Bo Broncos. And the Broncos to come out on top with a win today. If Darnold plays, I'm going with Seattle. If Darnold's not playing, I'm going with San Francisco. And I was into the chat last night about the Darren Mensah. I think I text you as soon as I seen it because I was up a little late last night. It shocked me. We've been talking about a lot of things going on in the portal, but 8 hours before is crazy. I know Parlay Poe felt that he would be the best quarterback in the ACC the next couple of years. And with SEC Sean feeling like he's going to Miami, that could still be true. If he stays in the ACC, I still feel very, very good about him being that good of a quarterback as well. But who knows where he'll go? You know, it's only been a few hours, so we'll have to look into that and see what comes about. Outside of that, those were, my thoughts on those few topics, but definitely I'll be going live today some point I think I'm going to be at a basketball game for some odd reason. That's how I was feeling. But other than that, man, just excited to see everybody post WTP, especially Griffey Griff the Great as well, to get you back in here, Parlay Po in the comments, and everyone else as well that's tuned in. So make sure you like and subscribe. All the channels down low as well. But for Moss B, I'm getting out this morning into the afternoon as I await my pops to take me out somewhere on a surprise today. So other than that, guys, it was good seeing everybody this morning to start the day, man. But appreciated to have me on this morning as well.
All right. Enjoy your day with Pops, man. Tell him I said what's happening.
Definitely will, man. For sure, for sure.
All right. Take care, Moss.
All you gotta do is
All right,
find that
peace.
person.
Yeah.
You gotta know when to cut
All
the
right. Who
weight
y'all
off,
got on the Bills versus the Broncos?
to cut it again. I'm talking about going over there.
Somebody need to go on mute. Man, listen. I thought Josh Allen was going to be sent home last weekend, but that didn't happen. For Buffalo to win, I think they have to rely heavily on Josh Allen. And against the Broncos at Mile High, I think that's too tall of a task. Even though Buffalo has the better quarterback, Denver probably has the better overall team, especially with the running game, that defense is stingy.
Come on
So
right
I
there.
think at home, I'm gonna take the Denver Broncos over the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, I think that the defense for the Broncos
You hit the
is
brake,
going
but you
to
can't come to
be the
them.
difference
Stop.
in this game because their defense is really, really good. Josh Allen is going to really have to put on the Superman cape, though, in order to pull out this victory against the Broncos and that defense. I'm going to go with the Broncos in a close game because I feel like Josh Allen is going to be able to make enough plays to keep it close, but I don't think they get the win in Mile High Stadium. I'm going with the Broncos to win this one in a close battle that's going to really come down to the wire because I believe that the Bills and Josh Allen are going to be able to keep this thing close because he's going to put on his Superman cape. What's your thoughts, Griffey Griff? Looks like he's doing some driving with his daughter right now. Maybe he can't talk. But what's your thoughts on that next matchup post game between the 49ers and the Seahawks?
Listen, I love the way Brock Purdy is playing, Rob. I think he's playing really good, but the fact that they won't have George Kittle in this game, uh, the fact that the Seattle Seahawks have a really good aggressive defense, and I know the Niners got Christian McCaffrey. They're all world running back, but I got to lean the Seahawks. I don't like uh I don't like their quarterback, the Seattle Seahawks quarterback over Brock Purdy. I think San Francisco easily has the better quarterback, but I just think with the defensive play, the special teams play, I think Seattle is a bit much for San Fran right now. So I'm gonna take the Seahawks in this one, bro.
Yeah, I'm going with the home team as well. And I agree with you. I don't think that Darnold is a better quarterback than Purdy, but I just feel like he might have more around him defensively and offensively than what Brock Purdy has around him. Seems like all he got is McCaffrey and himself, especially with George Kittle being out in this game. I'm going to go with the Seahawks because I feel like they've been able to have the formula to beat the 49ers this season. They beat them in their last matchup pretty easily, even though I know that game was one of those games that had something on the line. It just seemed like the 49ers weren't really out there playing. And I think the Seahawks are going to get the job done again tonight at 8 p.m. So I'm taking them Seahawks, and Sam Darnold will get his team to advance in this one. What's your thoughts on Darian Benza hitting the portal 8 hours before the close of the portal? Was he drawn out by other teams?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Hold on one second, Rob.
Yeah, I think
All
Darian
right.
mentioned. Okay, go ahead.
My bad.
Oh no, you okay?
Uh, yeah. I mean, expect the unexpected, I suppose. Looking at the Demond Williams of Washington situation, and we know that this is a dirty game. We know there's collusion. We know people get contacted throughout the year via their agent or via themselves. You know what? I knew this was going to happen. I didn't know which quarterback it was going to happen to, but I knew once I found out or I realized that Miami doesn't have a quarterback, and this is Carson Beck's last year, they were going to go get somebody. And I just think, like, man, there's no more loyalty in college football. That's over with. As long as this portal is allowed to operate as it's been operating these last couple of years. So, I mean, for Miami, it's a great pickup. Mensa can ball, man. That's a really good pickup for Miami. But how it was done and the loyalty factor in it, I mean, I don't like to see stuff like that. I mean, I get it. Probably more money for Mensa, probably a better chance to compete for a national title because he's going to go to Miami. There's no doubt about that. This was a Miami Hurricane. No doubt about that. I mean, SEC Sean spoke on it before he left. He'll be a Miami Hurricane. I mean, but I hate that for the young men in those locker rooms, those teams, that camaraderie. You know, it's the wild wild west. It's like NFL free agency now. So with stuff like this happening, and then the previous thing with the quarterback from Washington, Demond Williams, I think we're at the tail end of the transfer portal being like this. They gotta get this thing under control. I'm pro players being paid, being able to make some money playing this physical, violent game of football that we love for our entertainment. But this transfer portal, they have to get it under control. I'm so sick of players leaving their team every single year just to get a bigger slice of the pie. Like again, I'm cool for you getting paid. You setting yourself up for financial stability early on in your life. I'm all for it, but this willy nilly go to a different team every single year. Uh, I can commit to a team, and then a coach or a team contact my agent, and then all of a sudden I'm gone. That got to stop, and I think we're going to see it stop very soon.
Yeah, this is another one of those classic examples of there was an opportunity for the NCAA to be able to put something in place to sort of keep this kind of thing from happening. And yet we still got to let all of these daggone things continue to play out before we decide to make something happen and before we decide to do something about it. And it's like we already knew that this was coming down the pipeline. Players was going to start doing this kind of stuff. We saw it last year. We saw it with Nico. We saw seen it twice this year with Darian and Damon at the quarterback position. We know that that's where it's going to happen most prevalently is at the quarterback position because we know there's going to be teams out there who want to compete for championships that are going to try to lower guys out of their contract so that they can get them to come to their university. And I think this is a travesty, man, that and I'm not blaming the young man for going after the money and going to a situation where he could possibly compete for a championship if he decide if it's Miami, we're speculating on that because we believe that it's probably Miami because they don't have a quarterback after this season, after this national championship game, because Carson Beck has to go on to the NFL. But for this stuff to keep on happening and nobody is putting anything in place. This young man signed to play at Duke. Now, in his contract, he can get out of it apparently, and they not be able to pursue legal matters against him. Opposite of the case with Demond, I guess with Demond they can take him to court because of the nature of the contract that they signed. But anyway, I think that this stuff they gotta get a handle on it, man. It's just not good for the sport. We already see that there's a lot of crazy mess going on. There's no loyalty. And I think the fact that coaches have been disloyal for so long that it's okay now for the players to do it, and they really can't put a rule in place to keep it from happening because you don't have a rule in place to keep coaches from doing it as well. So they got to get both of those things fixed. If somebody's under contract, there got to be some kind of buyout in there that's a two-way buyout. If you leave, then whoever's the departing party who's leaving because of they want to go, then you should have to give some money back. You should have some kind of buyout. Something got to be in there for it to be a two-way buyout so that this stuff can stop happening. Coaches and players, because it's just out of control. And I don't know how they can do that because I don't know all the legal jargon and all that. But they got to get this thing under control, man, because college football is really starting to look crazy because they got so much mess going on that needs to be fixed. And it seems like they're focusing more on things that is going to really fix itself as opposed to the things that need to be fixed, that are unfixable if you don't take the time to work on them. So, like for instance, they're talking about the freaking 9-game rule. Now I'm off the mess of things, so I'm gonna take that off the screen. But I think, that situation is just ridiculous. But I think these coaches and these commissioners are focusing on things that they shouldn't be focusing on right now. They should be focusing on NIL and this freaking portal and the calendar. Those three things should be the main three things that they should be working on, because we already know the college football playoff, the amount of teams, that's going to take care of itself. We already know that that's going to happen because we didn't like the top 2 teams playing, so we went to 4. Then we went to 12. So eventually that's going to work itself out. But they're focusing on this red shirt rule when we already know the reality is you want to go to a 5-year years of eligibility. Just go to that. Get rid of the red shirt rule and go to 5 years of eligibility. That's easy to do.
Right.
I think that they just are focusing on stuff that they shouldn't be focusing on when the really messy stuff is what is keeping college football looking crazy right now. You got anything else you want to add post game?
No, that's it for me.
Yeah, I went on a nice little rant there, and I probably wasn't making a whole lot of sense because I was all over the place. But, man, I'm just sick and tired of seeing cases like this with Mensah and Demond and other players, and then you got coaches out there, or I don't know if it's the coaches, but somebody's out there trying to lure these kids out of their contracts when they've already signed with somebody. If this kid signs with that university, leave them alone.
Yeah.
Don't get them to jump in the portal and break their contract. This guy signed the deal. The mom signed the deal. They should have to honor that deal. If your agent and you think you can get more money, then don't sign the deal. Get your butt in the portal. And then go get the deal that you want. But don't sign with a team and then think that, oh man, this guy said he gonna give me some more money. And then you jump in the portal. It's just not cool, man. It's just not cool. No whatsoever.
Yeah, you make perfect sense, Rob. It is crazy and it's getting out of control. And the thing is, what are you teaching these young men? Word is bond. You got to honor your word. You got to honor your contract. So, what kind of example are they setting for these young men? These young men who are going to be leading uh, us into the future, whether it's football or other business ventures. They have to honor their word, honor that or that pen of paper. So that's a terrible example they're setting. And like you said, I hope they get this under control like now.
Yeah, loyalty is definitely becoming a lost art form. That's for sure. Because I mean, it's ridiculous, man. But I'm glad you was able to join me post game, and everybody out there in the chat. Make sure you hit the like button. That's the thumbs up button. Make sure you subscribe. Share our videos. We are really making some real headway in growing our channels, and we need your support to continue to do that. And we thank you for supporting us to this point. We've been going for almost a year and 7 or 8 months, and we are starting to see the fruits of our labor through YouTube. So continue to support us, continue to help us to grow our channels by tuning in, sharing our videos, and letting your friends and family members know, hey, man, it's a really nice show over there. You can catch on any of these channels: Level Up Sports 10, One Take Zaya, Blitzburg Podcast, Post Game 86, SEC Sham, City League TV, and WTP Sports Dudes. They're all scrolling across the bottom. If you didn't get to hear them all, you can see them scrolling across the bottom. And please continue to support us by liking, subscribing, comments. We love all of that, and we will get back to you if you comment on anything that we've said. And keep continuing to support us. Post game, you enjoy the rest of your Saturday, man. Thank you for joining. And hopefully we'll see everybody again tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. so we can talk a little bit more about the NFL playoffs and some other stuff going on in the sporting world. All right, post game. Have a good one, bro.
Hey, you do the same, brother. Peace out.
All right, peace.